And Nandita Suneja, our chief political correspondent, has more on the story. Sonia Gandhi takes ill suddenly, could not wait till the voting, and is immediately rushed to AIMS, where she's gone for a checkup. Nandita, what latest do you have? Nandita, are you there? Okay, those are the pictures on your screen while we get Nandita Suneja on the line on that story. According to sources at AIMS, she has been taken to the AIMS. She has gone there for a checkup. Earlier, there were reports that she was taken to AIMS, but she actually, from AIMS, she went home. Now, if you actually see there, she was unsteady as she was walking out. At one point, she stops and she balances herself with Kumari Selja coming out and reaching for her. And then Rahul Gandhi sits with her in the car, and then they are taken directly to the AIMS. It's been an exhausting day for Sonia Gandhi, who's been sitting through the entire food bill vote. Nandita Suneja with me on the phone line. What's the latest on Sonia Gandhi?
Well, what we understand is that she was not feeling well in Lok Sabha. She's been there since the afternoon when the debate started, and she was the third person to speak. After that, we understand that she felt unwell and then was taken by her son Rahul Gandhi. A little while back, she headed home, and after that was taken to AIMS for a checkup, where she currently is right now.
Okay, so when she was, how long had she spent in Parliament before that?
Well, she came at around 2 o'clock when the debate started, Arnab. In fact, she was there earlier in the day also, but the House was adjourned for an hour or so. 2 o'clock is when she came back. And remember, the debate was started by CPI member, after which Murli Manohar Joshi spoke for at least an hour and a half, and then Sonia Gandhi took to the floor at around 3:30, 3:45, and she had been sitting in Lok Sabha since then.
And she actually missed her step as she was moving out of Parliament. I don't know if reporters were there, but pictures of Sonia Gandhi leaving Parliament from, I think, gate number 2 show her actually missing a step for a while. She was looking a little unsteady, but she regains her poise once again and then walks herself to the car. And Kumari Selja then decides to accompany her. So there is in the car Rahul Gandhi on one side and Kumari Selja on the other, and they are driven to AIMS. So now, are they in AIMS right now? Have they been taken out of AIMS? Has she gone back home?
Well, there have been some conflicting reports in the last few minutes. We have been told by a minister who is close to the Gandhi family that she has been actually at 10 Janpath. He insists that he has been checking with his sources at 10 Janpath. But what we are now getting confirmed information on from AIMS itself is that she is actually at the All India Institute for Medical Sciences.
We'll get back to you for more details on this. Thank you very much, Nandita Suneja. Latest is that Sonia Gandhi is at AIMS. Now, the food bill is going to come up for voting anytime now. Debating this on the News Hour tonight, Dr. Abhishek Singhvi of the Congress Party, spokesperson and Rajya Sabha MP, and debating with him is Piyush Goyal, National Treasurer and Member of Parliament of the BJP, Sankarshan Thakur, roving editor of the Telegraph, and Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal wing of the Samajwadi Party. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. Now, there were a number of questions, Abhishek Singhvi, that the Congress Party was asked very specifically. Pointed questions. It appears that the Congress Party did not have a clear reply to the pointed questions which were being put from the opposition. So, eventually, everyone, including Mulayam Singh Yadav, seems to be of the view that this is basically an election gimmick, Dr. Singh. An election gimmick, you want to put it across as a philanthropic exercise, but you're not quite sure of the, when you're asked very specific questions on the subject.
2 or 3 quick answers, Arnab. First of all, I think it's an occasion to applaud. It does not matter if A, B, C criticize us even vehemently. What matters is that Parliament must be applauded. As we speak, it is going on. This is real parliamentary democracy at work. You can tear it to shreds, you can criticize, you can make constructive suggestions, but this is why Parliament was created, and this is the way it should be working. I think that's something to be applauding in the midst of all this depression and gloom about parliamentary democracy. Secondly, Arnab, I do not see any necessary contradiction, and this is very important, Arnab, between a bill which a government, howsoever subjectively wrongly, or a political party which backs that government, howsoever subjectively or wrongly, considers good, positive, in public interest, national interest, which is also a vote-getting measure. Political parties...
You admit it's a vote-getting measure?
In the abstract.
So you admit this is basically a vote-getting measure?
I complete, before I complete, please don't distort what I'm saying.
Because that explains a lot.
Complete, that you can do all the distortion. I'm going to ask you to replay my tape. I am saying that a party which is part of the ruling government says in its manifesto, we stand for the food security. That means that that party takes the hit, it takes the benefit, it takes the disadvantage, it takes the calumny, and it goes out to the public saying, look, we have done what we believe is good. Now, you are entitled equally to say it's wrong, it's bad. You take the responsibility for opposing us in the election and saying, look, they have passed a rotten bill.
All I'm saying
the point is there is no necessary contradiction between what we perceive as a public interest welfare measure, and last but not the least, Arnab, anything like this, any protective legislation, or indeed what is known as a reform measure in terms of an economic transformation measure, is necessarily imperfect. I am admitting it. It is necessarily imperfect.
I will not
with
even
the passage of time, it improves. With the implementation, with the giving of inputs, with the corrections, mid-course it improves. It's not supposed to be perfect. But it is a game-changing, mind-changing, thought-changing process. And this has been done by the Congress.
Now, Dr. Singhvi, now, Dr. Singhvi, let me say this to you before I go across to Piyush Goyal, who wanted to rebut you. Now, I want to tell you, I have never heard any Congress person ever describe the food security bill also as a vote-getting measure. So, it was your words, not mine, of it being a vote-getting measure, and you are saying there's nothing wrong if a public welfare measure is also a vote-getting measure. I thought this has nothing to do with votes. I thought this had nothing to do with vote. That was the position I thought of the Congress party, that it had nothing to do with votes. No, so you are saying it's a vote-getting measure.
And projected our manifesto is necessarily something to which we go to.
No, so you admitted it's a vote-getting measure. This is. You see, I'll tell you, because your government. Allow me to counter question you. Allow me to counter question you.
From the public.
No, allow me to counter question you.
The primary purpose is what we think is good, and it also gets the support from the public. That primary purpose is the real apprehension
but
the
which
BJP
public?
faces.
Which
That's the real awkwardness the BJP has.
Which public? Your government is not even sure how many.
The public which votes, the public which doesn't vote.
See, this argument is also...
The public which votes, the public which doesn't vote.
I'll open up the debate, but I'll just say one thing. And Abhishek Manu Singhvi, I'm going to go to Piyush Goyal after, but I want to say this. Your government does not even know how many poor people there are in India. If the scheme is for the poor, you should first be aware how many people you are targeting. If the scheme is for the poor, why does it cover 67% of the population? Does that mean that 67% of the population of India is poor? Why are you cloaking your electoral gimmicks as a philanthropic exercise?
No. Can I answer in half a minute your fallacious
Actually, I'll be unfair to the other guests.
Half a minute. There is no coincidence, Arnab, you know it well, with the poverty line BPL and the poverty line BPL is made for inter-country comparisons. But suppose I am just above the poverty line or even well above the poverty line.
Let's not go there.
It doesn't mean I have a food secure existence.
Let's not go there.
The food insecure existence in this country
let's not go there.
Is much larger than those who live below the poverty line. And you know that the
opening comments.
I think it's oversimplified.
Opening comments from the BJP tonight.
The poverty line and the food insecure.
Opening comments from the BJP tonight, who must also answer for all the viewers of Newshour, that if this bill is so flawed, if this scheme is so wrong, if this is a vote security bill, for God's sake, Piyush Goyal, why are you supporting it? Why are you voting for it?
Don't invoke God in this, Arnab. The fact is that this government at the fag end is only offering the people an act rather than having acted on removing poverty right from 1971. We have been hearing these platitudes of the Congress party right from the time of the late Srimati Indira Gandhi, who said कि मैं गरीबी हटाऊंगी, पर गरीबी तो कोई हटी नहीं, बढ़ती जा रही है. We hear year after year figures being touted that the poor are falling, but now they've come up with an act at the end of their tenure, which also seems to take away the rights of people and reduce the benefits the people are getting. However, as Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi just revealed, they are more keen to garner votes, and as Murli Manohar Joshi ji said, it's more a vote security scheme than a food security scheme for the people. However, if at all it's a beginning, let there be a beginning. I believe the final word on this will be written by my government, led by a leader, a more honest leader, who will implement it in its true letter and spirit and actually give the poor people of India what they deserve, and that is adequate food at the right price and work.
No,
to
so
make
what?
them
No,
have
one
an
second, one second,
honest
one second, one second,
work which will help them to earn this food.
No, one second. So you are now in the fight for ownership, is it? I find it very interesting. Your leader Murli Manohar Joshi
what
says...
ownership?
No, you are ownership. You see, what you are doing today is that I heard you and several other leaders of your party talk about the fact where is the money going to come from, right? And Mulayam Singh Yadav said, where's the money going to come from?
No, we never said that. On the contrary.
No, 1 minute.
On the contrary, Arnab. In my opinion, this is old wine in a new bottle. They are giving nothing new to the people of the country.
So if it is old wine in new bottle, if the country can't afford it, then why are you saying my leader eventually? My leader will sign off on it? What about the fiscal deficit?
Because
what about the money? What about the prudent economics? No, your leader says today, you are sitting on a volcano of poverty, and this is what you come up with? You can't provide storage facilities, you don't have the rakes, you cannot carry out transportation. Is this black magic that you are going to implement the food security bill with? Now what you're saying is we'll do the black magic.
I told you.
You're saying today that we'll do the black
magic. We will... No, you may sensationalize it, Arnab, but the fact is, in Chhattisgarh, we have actually implemented an honest, targeted public distribution system which reaches out to 90% of the population. It gives them 35 kilograms every month to a household. It gives it much cheaper than this. And for 2.5 crore population, we only spend 1,200 crores in that state. Because we have run it in an efficient manner, it's computerized records.
Why don't you get practical?
Panchayats run the PDS system.
No, why don't you get practical? You see, Piyush Goyal, see, I can see today a very cautionary note. The otherwise very economically aggressive, pro-industry, the extremely pro-reform measures, the extremely pro-opening up of the economy, cutting down on subsidy, rationalization of the economy measures, Piyush Goyal is today racing for authorship of the bill with the Congress party. I can understand your predicament because you don't want to lose out votes and because you're worried the Congress will get the votes. No, but the question is, I go to the third participant. I go to the third participant.
One sec, Arnab, I'm in fact telling you that we can implement the bill in a far better manner at probably half the price that this government has targeted to use.
That's a tall...
Because we'll do it honestly and we'll do it using the local mechanism, the local people, and actually involving the local people in implementing
in that case,
like we have done in Gujarat, which has been praised by the Planning Commission, which has been praised by the Supreme Court.
In that case, you are going to rewrite. You are going to rewrite the rules of economics and demography forever in the world, because Mulayam Singh Yadav raised a valid question, and I'll go to Rahul Gaurav on this. Mulayam Singh Yadav says, where is the money going to come from? How can you make a food security bill based on assumptions? 30,000 crores is not the problem. How much financial liabilities will the states have to bear because of this food security bill? From where will the states generate the fund? There is no mention of all that in the bill, and neither will. From where will the states generate the fund? There is no mention of all that in the bill, and neither Sonia Gandhi or the Congress had an answer to it. Gaurav, Piyush Goyal says he'll do it at half the amount. Your response?
First of all, Arnab, before I start replying to your question, I learned through your channel that Ms. Sonia Gandhi is not well. So on behalf of the Samajwadi Party, we wish her a speedy recovery. Now coming to the topic, I would say that a brilliant idea may fail because of poor implementation, and that is the exact thing that's happening in the parliament. The food security bill is being brought in such a haste with such deficiencies only because this government slept for 4 years and there was a complete not just policy paralysis but legislation paralysis as well. You were right in saying that, the concerns of the state government has to be looked into. Not the monetary part, which the bill is silent on, there is a heavy burden on the state for implementation. The infrastructure that is required is not in place. And most importantly, the quantifiable data that is required so that, the benefit is going to the people who are entitled is also completely missing. Now, for example, I would say in state of UP, the rural population would be around 11.6 crores, which has to be identified, and urban would be around 2.25. Together would be around 13.5 crores of population. Now, such a massive exercise, which would require financial assistance, assistance of infrastructure, cannot be done overnight. Now, without doing this exercise, Congress is pushing for this bill only because it has election in mind. And that is why I started by saying a brilliant idea would fail.
Why don't you vote against the bill? I don't understand. You see, both of you, both Piyush Goyal...
The party leader...
Arnab, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You see, the problem with both the BJP and the Samajwadi Party is that you are now competing with the Congress at one level. You're cribbing. But just understand one thing. If this is an electoral ploy, as Murli Manohar Joshi and the BJP say, if this is flawed, as you say...
And Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav himself
No, if this is flawed, please vote against it. Why are you compromising the country and your own ideology? Vote against it.
Arnab, it's not a question about voting against it. It's a thing which is very, very long overdue, which should have been done many years ago, maybe 40 years ago, but this government has failed to bring in adequate security during the NDA government. That we actually increased it from 10 kilos to 25
you see, you're
and then to 35 kilos per household. We believe this can be implemented in a much better fashion in Chhattisgarh and Gujarat.
Somewhere I find Piyush Goyal, don't mind if I'm being a bit judgmental on this. Somewhere I find that you are not completely convinced by your line of argument today. I can understand because your economic position is compromised with your politics. Sankarshan, who would you blame? Would you blame the Congress?
It's the most curious and awkward stand. This bill we cannot oppose, we are not opposing, but we want to make suggestions, we want to make inputs till the cows come home. We want to keep on making inputs so that the bill is not passed. We don't want to support the bill because we should have passed this bill 40 years ago. We should have passed the bill in 2010, in 2009, in 2011, but not in 2013. We will not pass the bill because we were the first to pass the bill in Chhattisgarh. Of course, in an inconvenient moment, they forget to tell you that Chhattisgarh has no connection with this bill for several reasons. Number one reason being, this is the first time on a pan-Indian scale a legal fundamental right entitlement is created, a legal obligation on the state and a legal right in the citizen to demand food security.
Sir, please.
On this scale, of this size, in this manner, in no state, not in Madhya Pradesh.
No, so what is your point? What is your point? What is your point to
the eyes of the people?
No, what is your point to this? What is your point to
this? Whole thing, the vote is not the object of the Congress. The vote is the primary fear. The absolute desperation and fear psychosis of the BJP, which is constantly thinking that here is a good measure they had in their manifesto. We should not allow them to get away with it. We must claim authorship. In this whole thing, Arnab, they forget one simple fact. The food security bill is a done deal. It's our signature. We are not going to be devoid of its authorship.
But that does not. You are still not answering any specific questions. You are still not answering. You are still not answering any specific questions.
BJP is saying.
You are still not answering any specific questions. Piyush, I'll get you to respond.
Ask any specific question, I'll answer it.
No, there are three specific questions. I'll tell you. Your first specific question is, these questions were put to you, see. The centre will provide enough rakes to transport food grains. Let's be specific. Murli Manohar Joshi says, who is making the rakes? Who is making the extra rakes for transportation? Are you going to acquire those rakes with black magic? Okay. Secondly, it is said by international standards, by international standards, a person needs 14 kilos of cereal a month. If you look at your own survey, one conducted by the NSSO, you will find that it says that the poorest people in rural areas need at least 9.88 kilos of food grain a month. You are providing just 5 kilos. The third specific question is this. This again Murli Manohar Joshi asked today. You are just providing 50% of the urban population with food grains under the scheme. What will the rest eat? If I stay in a city and I am poor, what will I eat? Do I eat coal? Do I eat oil?
Arnab, I'll forget your question.
And about the eligibility criteria.
One more on the eligibility criteria. He's asking you now. What's it? Piyush Goyal is asking you one on the eligibility criteria, then you answer all.
Let me answer three questions, then I'll answer the
fourth. You'll have different criteria all over the country and it'll mess the...
Go ahead, Mr. Goyal, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying if you have eligibility criteria which each state will set on its own, you will have different states having different criteria. So a person in Delhi gets it even up to 1 lakh rupee income per year for his family, and a person in another place will get it even if his income is, will not get it even if his income is 50,000 a year. So I think we'll have to set some standards, usually in a law like this, which is centrally driven. The center should have set guidelines, and whoever fit into the eligibility criteria should have got it rightfully. It should have been adequate food grain to provide for the nutritional needs of that person, and it should have been modeled in a local fashion in such a way that we did not need to have rakes, central government procurement and rakes transporting it.
So who do you blame? Sankarshan?
Level.
So between the both of you, let's get Sankarshan. And Sankarshan, who do you blame?
But you haven't even allowed the answer to the question.
I will come to you. Let's get Sankarshan. He hasn't spoken yet. Sankarshan, who do you blame? Do you blame the Congress today for playing with the economy? Or do you blame the BJP for competing with the Congress? For competing with the Congress in playing with the economy? Who do you blame? The Congress or the BJP, Sankarshan?
Fundamentally, I really don't understand this one-upmanship over this is being done for votes, this is being done for electoral purposes, this is being done for power. That's what parties do in a democracy. Elected governments or the opposition do take steps within the framework of the law and the constitution, and without hurting sentiment or other things. They do take steps which may make them more popular. Is this the first time things are being done with an eye on the vote? I don't think it was lost on Sonia Gandhi either when she referred back to a slew of empowerment initiatives, what she called empowerment initiatives that the UPA had taken since it came to power in 2005. So I find this debate rather facile, frankly, that you are doing this to garner votes. I think Piyush Goyal was saying, is he making that an allegation, or is his party not interested in garnering votes? So that's one thing. Two,
that allegation was made by Arnab, and it was acknowledged by Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Arnab, may I please come in?
No, the question has been put to you. Don't escape that point, Piyush Goyal. You are trying to run away from the point he is making.
Arnab, the real question.
We are already providing.
Piyush Goyal
we are already providing 35 kilos to every family in the state, which we are running, and we are doing it efficiently and honestly.
Arnab.
Yes, Gaurav.
May I please come? Yeah. The Congress is talking about a budgetary provision of 1.25 lakh of direct expense. What about a provision of 1 lakh crore that is required for indirect expense? The Congress is completely silent on that.
But why are you voting for the bill then?
The Congress should come forward and answer.
Why are you voting for the bill?
Arnab,
you have admitted. One minute. I want to understand. It beats me to understand.
Nobody wants to lose the vote.
No, 1 second.
Nobody wants to be seen as someone who's taking the thali away from the floor.
Please, I'll go back to the speech of Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav. He ended his speech by saying that please consult all the chief ministers before you discuss this.
For popularity, and it also happens to be in that political party's perception something in national interest, then I think there is absolutely no dichotomy and no divergence.
Now, how do you say it's in national interest? No, you can't. Now, how do you say it's in national interest? No, Dr. Singh, how do you say it's in national interest? Do you have storage facilities? No, 1 second. Let me ask you the question.
May not match yours. But when I say it in my manifesto, I take the risk of getting hit for it in public support.
No, Dr. Singhvi, no.
That electoral,
you can't say I take the risk for it.
That whole
no, Dr. Singhvi, do you have storage facilities? Let me ask you frankly.
That's why I put in my manifesto.
Do you have storage facilities? Do you have storage facilities?
Answer, but you see, you interrupt me. I've only said point one. I'm not. You asked this question 10 minutes ago, and you haven't allowed me to answer.
No, but do you realize why the question is so important?
Point number two. Every objection I've heard is nitpicking. None challenges the concept.
No. I am asking a very specific question. I am asking a very specific question on storage facilities. You are responding by saying any question. No. You are responding by saying any question. No. 1 second. You are responding by saying any question. Anybody who asks any questions is nitpicking. I am asking one very specific question to start with. No, you are again interrupting me.
No, I am asking. I am asking my own way, Arnab, you will get.
No, Dr. Singhvi,
you were to give me by your clock stopwatch 120 seconds, you'll get the answer.
No, 1 second.
Can you hold your patience for 120 seconds?
Can you hear a question for 10 seconds?
Please hear my nonsense for 120 seconds.
Can you hear my question for 10 seconds?
120 seconds I need.
10-second question, you give a 120-second reply.
From you. You haven't allowed me to answer a single question.
No, 10-second question.
This is your 8th question.
10-second question. You are not listening, sir. You are heckling me on my own program.
Question, then I'll answer this question.
Dr. Singhvi.
Yes, because you heckle me so much.
Dr. Singhvi, 10-second question, you answer as long as that. 10-second question. And I insist you must. 10-second question is, if you don't have storage facilities, you will be wasting food grain. If you will be wasting food grain, it will be a loss to the nation. How do you say that the waste of food grain is something that is in the national interest when you don't have the storage facilities? You've not had that for the last 12 years. 9 years you've been in power, you've not built the storage facilities. How will you do it right away?
Right. Now can I answer?
Yeah.
The points you made were storage facilities, half the urban population not covered, too many non-poor covered, 60% population covered, not aligned with BPL, etc., etc. First answer, the simple answer is all these are objections which make perfect the enemy of the good. Nobody challenges the idea. They are challenging nitty-gritty aspects of it. Now on the nitty-gritty, all this has to be done, will be done, a way will have to be found. When the idea is being backed, tomorrow if I pass a food security bill and I'm not able to get the states the funds to do it, I'm not able to get the rakes by railway to transfer it, I'm not able to have not full but at least 70-80% storage, then the food security measure will fail.
And what happens in the interim? Why do you want it to fail?
The government is prepared to
certain to fail.
On the contrary,
it is certain to fail.
On the contrary, Arnab, this will be the biggest impetus to both the rakes issue and to the storage issue. These are things which,
so you are admitting...
Arnab, Gandhiji said, any good idea, any good movement starts with indifference, 5 stages, goes to ridicule, to abuse, to repression, and then to respect. One of the ways to get this going is to start it. And all these ancilleries function and get
this is not an ancillary.
Realized
sir, this
when
is
this program starts.
I request
what happened in Manrega? Arnab, let me complete. In
counters are coming.
Manrega started, when Manrega started, Arnab, it might have been 70% deficient. Today, its worst critics accept that it is maybe 20% deficient. There has been huge improvement because you had audit committees in Manrega. You had party audit committees, audit committees, you have ministry audit committees. And I have no doubt that a showpiece signature campaign of the UPA will get all the ancillaries of the count.
Counters, Dr. Singhvi, 5 minutes on the debate.
Presupposing that I won't have the money, I won't have the rates, I won't have the
counters.
That's a wrong fallacious assumption.
Counters, first from the Samajwadi Party.
I am taking the liberty to place the proposed section 14 to show the intention of the Congress and why other parties do not support the Congress. When it comes to the easier task of only determining the percentage coverage, the central government is to do it under the proposed section 14. But the state government shall update the list of eligible households, which in the case of UP would amount to a few crores and the population is 14 crores, when they have the central data of the Aadhaar scheme. So now, please understand how cleverly they have worded it.
So if it's so terrible, why don't you oppose it?
The tougher task falls on the state government.
So if there is no transportation, I'm again a simple question. If there is no transportation, everybody admits. There is no storage, everybody admits.
No
the figures are not right, everybody admits. There is no money, everybody admits. So why don't you oppose it in the national interest? Piyush Goyal, that is to you.
Arnab, as I said in the beginning, this government can only give acts and entitlements. The actual empowerment and action will have to be done by a more honest and better government, which we hope to give very soon to this nation. What they did is, in Manrega also promised 100 days.
So you won't let this bill be passed under UPA too? No, so what you're saying is you'll delay the bill? What you are going to delay the bill? What's your strategy? You'll delay the bill now for a few days? You're going to delay it somehow?
Let the bill come in. We are implementing it in our states in our fashion. Look what they are doing in Delhi. Earlier, the targeted PDS was reaching out to 28 lakh families, which is about 140 lakh people. Now this new food security ordinance has pitched for 73 lakh families. that's half the number of people only will be eligible for food security under the new bill. And the bigger joke is, they have a Delhi Civil Supplies Corporation, which instead of running PDS shops, it has only one PDS shop in President's Estate. It actually runs 112 liquor vends. That is how the Congress governments are running their Civil Supplies Corporation.
I don't know, even the government is divided.
Therefore,
no, even the government is divided. No, even the government is divided. Even Sharad Pawar is not happy with the bill. The opposition is not happy. People in the government are not happy. People outside the government are not happy. Why are you not? Are you all held back so much by politics and not by economic rationalism on the eve of an election? I mean, you think the people of this country, you think the people of this country won't see through this sudden upsurge of feeling for the poor people of this country in a pre-election year?
We are already providing that security in our state.
That's now
if they are able to do a little better in their other states,
okay, last word to Sankarshan.
It will be good for the nation.
Sankarshan, is this going to be a game changer?
Haven't said it right.
Is this going to be a game changer for the Congress party? You know, or will the record of the 9.5 years of the government, the non-performance of the Manmohan Singh government, will this all be obliterated with the food security bill in your view?
No, that's a hypothetical question, Arnav. I mean, there's time to go. I don't think one measure can obliterate a whole lot of other failures. Having said that, 9 years, you know, it's become a public myth that this is a government of 9 years of failure. I do not think this government would have been re-elected in 2009 if there was, if the people of this country believed the first term had failed. The second term, they've had a terrible time.
No,
but you know, they have brought this bill partly also with the intent that they will be able to shore up some support. Whether they are able to do so or not.
No, I'm asking you that. Obviously, I know that. Oh, I'm asking you. No, I'm asking you simply. No, we see there are two situations. No, there are two situations, Sankarshan. Just very quickly.
Yeah, tell me.
There are two situations. One is that as of now the economy is through strain, people are losing jobs, unemployment figures are not good, inflation is high, EMIs are going up. And on the other hand is a question of the food security bill. Will this food security bill be able to play the balancing act? Will it play the balancing act?
Arnab, as an idea, I find it extremely troubling that in a country with such disparity, such economic disparity, that the privileged classes such as us are not able to give even 5 anna paisa. I don't see why we should be getting subsidized cooking gas and subsidized diesel. If the economy is bad for the classes in this country, just imagine how bad it must be for those deserving of food security.
Well, I don't know who is having a good time and who feels that you know their lives are subsidized. I can only tell you.
If we are not having a good time, well, then people who are further down the economic ladder from us can. I think people should think what kind of time they are having.
Certainly, and let's see how far the food security bill can be implemented. But anyway, tonight, thank you very much, Sankarshan, Piyush.
Just one thing. I think you can fool the people once, you can fool the people twice, but the time has come now. The people have seen through the shenanigans of the Congress. I see them being thrown out for the misgovernance and the dishonest government they have given this country.
Well, I would ask both of you again, and I know you won't reply to this one. If you're so against the food bill, oppose it. Why don't you oppose it? Let's see what you do on the floor of the
Congress government.
Yeah, but
I'm opposed to the Congress government, not to the poor people.
If you feel a legislation is flawed, you can't support it. Thank you very much, Piyush Goyal, Gaurav and Sankarshan Thakur for joining me on the News Hour debate tonight, and we are going to follow the story. Sonia Gandhi is still very much at AIIMS, and we are following the very latest on her condition.
Two security personnel were killed in two separate terrorist attacks in South Kashmir today. A CRPF Jawan was killed when terrorists fired on the escort of a ruling National Conference MLC in Shopian. In another attack, a policeman was shot dead in Anantnag when terrorists opened fire on a